Alright guys, and welcome back. I am Largo, and today we're checking out another death battle. This one is Rick Sanchez versus the Doctor. This video was a commenter suggestion, so thank you very much for that. As far as Rick Sanchez versus the Doctor goes, this one is pretty interesting. Can definitely see why the two have been compared. Pretty sure Rick Sanchez was heavily influenced by the character of the Doctor. There's intentional differences that were made between the characters, like Rick intentionally trying not to do time travel stuff because he didn't want to be, I guess, associated too much with the Doctor. Now that being said, I will say that one of these characters scares me far more than the other. I am very familiar with both of these characters, and I have seen about 90% of both of their shows, so I'm very familiar with the characters. So let's jump right in, see what the guys at Death Battle have to say.
Everything about Morty Smith's life was perfectly average.
Oh, Morty.
Average house, average family, average school.
Maybe slightly below average intelligence.
But everything changed the day his grandpa Rick came home.
Yeah, in style! Cause Rick Sanchez is anything but average.
Rick is easily the smartest man in the universe, and its most dangerous criminal.
I'm gonna have to take issue with that statement right there. Technically yes. Technically, yes, Rick is the smartest person in the universe, but remember, Rick and Morty takes place in essentially a multiverse where there's an infinite number of realities that Rick likes to jump between, you know, these dimensions, these realities, whatever. Rick lives in what is called the central finite curve. That central finite curve is a finite, limited number of realities that were hand-picked, hand-selected by Rick to be in this central finite curve.
Do you know what the central finite curve is? They built a wall around infinity. They separated all the infinite universes from all the infinite universes where he's the smartest man in the universe. Every version of us has spent every version of all of our lives in one infinite crib built around an infinite baby. And I'm leaving it.
And the realities that exist in this curve are all the realities where Rick is the smartest person alive in the universe. So in those universes, yes, that statement is true. Rick is the smartest person in the universe. However, I say that's true on a technicality because there is so many more universes out there where Rick is not the smartest person. There's universes out there where Morty is smarter than him. There's universes out there where Jerry is smarter than Rick. But that's not a flat-out 100% true statement for everything. Just so happens to be true in this case.
He spent years on the run from the Galactic Federation, going on adventures across the multiverse.
Who cares about the emotional trauma from abandoning his daughter, right? And then he took her son and put him in life-threatening danger. Bye!
Thus formed the greatest duo of the generation.
Rick and Morty!
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, mostly Rick. Morty's the cannon fodder who smuggles grapefruit-sized seeds up his ass. And that's just the first episode.
Rick is an unparalleled inventor, always ready to face even the squanchiest of alien foes.
He's got your usuals. Laser gun, invisibility belt, shrink ray, cyborg implants, the works.
As well as some weirder things, like a Mr. Meeseeks box, which can summon an infinite number of irritating temporary life forms that will work tirelessly to accomplish a given task.
Or a series of android decoys that are so perfectly created, they don't even realize they're decoys, which leads them to create decoys that create decoys, and so on.
Rick's gadgets can erase your memories, manipulate and travel through time.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm actually thinking about it, I do believe Rick Sanchez is way more of a prolific inventor than the Doctor is. Almost everything we see the Doctor use is pre-existing technology, whether it comes from the Time Lords or some other species or something. He didn't invent any of that stuff. He didn't invent the TARDIS, the sonic screwdriver, psychic paper. He didn't invent any of it. That's pre-existing technology that members of his race created, but him specifically did not create. So I think Rick Sanchez might have the advantage as far as like being an inventor. You know, I think Rick probably actually has more tools, physical tools at his disposal than the Doctor does. I didn't think about that before, but okay, all right. Seems like we got a little point in Rick's favor here.
time, and even make a surface true level. Perfectly flat, something normally mathematically impossible. So
reality's
beautiful
poison
that experiencing it for only a moment before returning to non-Euclidean space can emotionally scar you for life.
He can even inject you with his own genetic info and instantly chest burst a clone of himself from inside you, like a pasty alcoholic xenomorph. What the hell?
Rick and Morty travel the universe in the Space Cruiser. Powered by a microverse under the hood, this compact starship comes equipped with laser cannons, a fishing line that can tow a solar system.
Okay. All right. His car is weird but funny. You could argue that the microverse is a more powerful energy source than what the TARDIS has. You could argue it. Debatable, but you could argue it. But come on, the TARDIS is better. The TARDIS is better. Let's be real with it. The TARDIS is better.
System and a unique artificial intelligence.
With all that crazy sci-fi gear, Rick and Morty's adventures were absolutely bonkers.
From disentangling a time loop created by alien snakes to battling the meta-fictional Story Lord to Rick turning himself into a pickle to avoid family therapy.
This guy would rather battle the Russian mafia as a vegetable than address his feelings.
Actually, pickle
is Solenia. The Solenia has come for us.
A fruit.
Because boy oh boy, does he have a lot of them.
Behind the fart jokes and wubba-lubba-dub-dubs, Rick harbors bitter emotional agony.
Way back when, in a completely different universe, the Rick we know had a happy life until another Rick from another universe took it all away, the bastard.
But like me, Rick is a true inventor, and this tragedy spurred him to craft his greatest creation, the portal gun.
My scans indicate it creates holes through all aspects of space-time, allowing Rick to travel anywhere in the multiverse. It sounds exhausting.
It can do more than that. It can slice you in half, set up traps, and even...
That's coming out of your paycheck.
Nuh-uh.
Decades of traveling the multiverse, hunting down the man who ruined his life, darkened Rick's heart. He began to ask himself, if there are an infinite number of universes with an infinite number of each person, how did any individual life matter?
Sounds like he's overthinking it.
Like the time he accidentally turned all of humanity into horrific Cronenbergs. He and Morty had to escape to a parallel universe where they swapped places with...
I love how they just... It's just interchangeable. The word Cronenberg is just interchangeable with body horror. And you got to give credit to David Cronenberg for being so good at what he did that his name is now interchangeable with the kind of work that he did. That's just, I love that.
Recently deceased versions of themselves. What does that do to a person?
Makes them badass. When Rick found the interdimensional council of Ricks, he kicked their teeth in. Like they say, he's the Rickest Rick of them all.
That he is. Just
the Rickest Rick of them all. Council of Ricks obviously is a play on the Council of Reeds from Marvel Comics, where Reed Richards goes out and gets an almost infinite number of versions of himself from across the multiverse and creates the Council of Reeds. And that is what the Council of Ricks is. It's a parody on the Council of Reeds.
Touching the hem of his coat can activate his energy shield or even induce instant death. Oh. Yes, instant. No, it isn't explained why. Though considering this reaction, it's likely a chemical released through the coat's lining.
Rickest Rick, whiz! He's dodged an orbital space laser from just a few feet away. He's so smart, he figured out he's in a TV show. Yep, really.
Perhaps most mysterious is Operation Phoenix, a series of clone bodies that his consciousness can be uploaded to upon his death. Despite eventually taking it offline, his mind is still connected to every other Operation Phoenix across the multiverse,
giving him an infinite number of extra lives, even if some of them are shrimps and fascists.
Some of his devices can destroy the Earth, the universe, even numerous alternate timelines. He actually did that just to manipulate the stock market.
Though underneath the drunken god complex, there's still a glimmer of the family man Rick used to be.
Well, as much as he insists that love is just a chemical reaction in the brain, he does care about his daughter and grandkids.
Well, when he said that, he was talking about a specific type of love. He was talking about romantic love, love that makes you want to be intimate with someone. He's not talking about like familial love, the love between like a father and daughter, or father and son, or grandfather and grandchild. Like, that's a different kind of love. The love that Rick was talking about in that specific scene where he says love is just a chemical concoction that comes on strong and then fades, leaving you in a doomed relationship. He's talking about romantic love there, and to a certain degree, I have to agree with that. It does, romantic relationships always start out very fiery and exciting, and then once you've been in them for a while, it kind of tapers off, and it goes from being exciting to being normal, to being an everyday type of, you get used to it, you know what I'm saying? That flame, that intensity kind of dies down after the initial, like, get together. But, it's my point here is he's talking about a different kind of love. So Death Battle guys are kind of picking and choosing a couple things here to kind of almost misrepresent, but okay.
And Jerry. Sometimes.
He's taken on an alien Zeus, the President of the United States, and the actual devil. Even exiting the bounds of fiction into meta-reality, fighting Jesus H. Leaping Christ himself, and meeting Joseph Campbell. Talk about a hero's journey.
Challenge Rick at your will. He might look like a scrawny, drunken septuagenarian, and he is, but he's also, somehow, the greatest warrior in the universe.
And you can lick his balls.
All right, that was the breakdown for Rick Sanchez. Like I said, Rick Sanchez is a very interesting character. He does seem to, after that breakdown, after thinking about it a little bit, he does have a couple little benefits that the Doctor might not have. For instance, like I said, he is way more prolific at actually inventing things from scratch, as where the Doctor seems to use almost entirely pre-existing technology. So he definitely has the inventing edge on the Doctor, as well as because he invents so much stuff, he probably also has the advantage in weapons, physical armaments, tools, you know, objects to use in the fight. Both of these characters are written in such a way that they can both get out of almost seemingly impossible situations, which is why this is a very interesting kind of battle. They mentioned, you know, Rick's dark past and the stuff that he kind of battles with mentally and emotionally, and we'll get into that a little bit more because that is a little something that these two characters have in common, is their shady background. So let's go ahead and get into the breakdown for Doctor Who here. He's one of the, as far as I know, he's one of the longest running fictional characters, especially on TV. And I really like the show. I like what they've done with the character. So let's see how they break it down. And let's see how he compares to Rick Sanchez.
Masterton and Barbara Wright were just your average school teachers, with a less than average student. Susan was odd, almost like an alien. And when they met her grandfather and his police box, they found out why.
They were aliens, and that police box was the TARDIS, a 2-in-1 spaceship and time machine.
Thus, they were whisked away into the stars, kicking off over half a century of timey-wimey adventures with a revolving cast of companions, like Sarah Jane Smith, Rose Tyler, the Brigadier, Amy Pond, and so many more.
Complete with the cheesiest special effects you've ever seen.
This madman with a box had...
Okay, so I have to touch on this for just a second, but the special effects in Doctor Who, wow. Low budget, cheesy special effects like I have almost never seen before. Especially in the old version, right? Like the old black and white version, the original run of Doctor Who. Obviously, since that was done back when things were a little bit more limited, especially visual effects, it looks very cheap. But it kind of worked with the whole setup, the black and white scenario, all that kind of stuff. New Who, the new series of Doctor Who that started with Christopher Eccleston. Good Lord, season 1 of New Who is horrifically bad looking as far as some of what looks like their budget and their special effects. Not the entirety of season 1, but quite a bit of it, especially the pilot episode, episode 1. That thing looks like it was shot on a budget of about 15 bucks. But they have gotten much better with it over the years, especially in the later episodes and later seasons of New Who. So, But man, he's right when he says that special effects. Ugh. Oh my goodness. These British shows don't put as much money into it as the US shows do.
Had a name he would never tell, and a history he would always run from. He was only known as the Doctor.
Doctor who?
Exactly.
Doctor exactly?
Though the Doctor's origins are shrouded in mystery, we know they were born several thousand years ago and earned degrees in cosmic science and higher dimensional physics.
But he got bored with the stuffy Time Lord bureaucrats, stole a TARDIS, and explored time and space as a runaway. Who can forget those adventures chasing dinosaurs on a spaceship, dueling Robin Hood with a spoon, or shoving Hitler in a closet?
Yeah, we know it's kind of weird. It's British.
But if you don't know who's who, you're probably wondering, who are all these people? A bunch of old guys, young guys, a lady, and one of the Three Stooges? What?
The Doctor is a Time Lord from the planet Gallifrey. Time Lords may look human, but couldn't be more different. Not only do they have two hearts, they literally experience time differently. They can see past, present, and future all at once. They can resist temporal phenomena such as time stops and can tamper with fixed points in time. They're effectively acausal beings.
This makes them super hard to...
What? I did not know that. I did not know that. That's a thing. I did not know that. Time Lords are immune or at least resistant to temporal phenomena like time stops, slowing down time, the reversal of time. That is fascinating and really powerful. They can alter fixed points in a timeline. That's insane. Oh my goodness. Wow. That makes Time Lords like way more OP than I thought they were. That means they should be able to do things like survive time loops, things like that, be prevented from being stopped or halted in time. That's fascinating. I did not know that. I did not realize Time Lords were capable of that. And on the topic of the different actors that have played the Doctor, it is one of the most interesting things in a sci-fi series that I've ever seen, and I love what they've done with it. So the Doctor is a legacy character, much like James Bond. James Bond is probably the other legacy character that's the most well-known legacy character probably anywhere, right? Everybody knows who James Bond is. They understand what he is. He's a spy. He works for the British Secret Service, things like that. But he's been portrayed by many different actors, even though it is understood that it is the same person, the same character of James Bond, even though he's being portrayed by different actors. Doctor Who masterfully gets around this by writing that into the concept of the character and his regeneration. You're allowed to have different actors, even actors of different races, genders, backgrounds, ethnicities. You can do all of that with the Doctor, and it still fits in continuity with the character and his lore because of the regeneration. And I just thought that was genius as far as a writing standpoint goes. I don't know if that was originally supposed to be a part of the original idea of the Doctor, or if that's something that they came up with when they realized that they were going to have to recast. I don't know, but it's genius. It's genius. And I love it. And then no other show's done something like that, to my knowledge.
Predict and nearly impossible to erase from any timeline. They can even breach the bounds of space and talk directly to you. Yes, you at home. Hello there.
Time Lords are practically walking Deus Ex Machinas. In fact, a lot of them would be proud to be called that.
Yeah, the Doc ran away for a reason. Time Lords are a bit dodgy.
The Doctor has hypnotized with a glance, resisted mind control, survived deadly radiation, and even learned transmigration. As in, the ability to summon an object out of thin air.
What? What? Why is there so much stuff I'm learning about Doctor Who? I thought I knew enough about this guy. He can just transport stuff into his hand? What? That essentially gives him the magic satchel from like cartoons, where he just has like a pocket dimension full of infinite space that he could just pull objects out of. That's crazy. I mean, Rick can kind of do something similar by opening up a portal to like an armory where he can just reach in and pull out a weapon. But apparently the Doctor can do this No portals necessary. He can just hold his hand out and pop an item into it from somewhere. That's insanity. I did not know he could do that either.
Sounds crazy, but it's apparently standard fare for Time Lord Academy.
But the reason why there are so many doctors is that Time Lords have a funny way of cheating death.
Upon receiving a fatal wound, the Doctor undergoes regeneration, gaining a new, healthy body.
It's way more than that. While reloading, the Doctor has regrown lost limbs, become strong enough to knock down steel doors, and even weaponized his own time energy.
Downside being, if a Time Lord dies during regeneration, that ends the process permanently.
To date, we've seen 14 versions of the Doctor, plus a few extras mixed in here and there. Hell, by the time you're watching this, you've probably seen the 15th. Or the 16th!
The experiences each Doctor gains changes and affects the next Doctor, and the next, and so on. Each Doctor maintains the same memories, but with an all-new personality.
Some like bow ties, some like jelly babies, some kick butt with Venusian karate, and some really hate the monarchy, probably 'cause they're werewolves.
But they always have one thing in common.
They are British!
Well, one other thing in common. The Doctor always enjoys the thrill of adventure, and they've got plenty of tech to help, like the sonic screwdriver. Utilizing sonic waves to manipulate nearby objects, it can pick locks, cause detonations, and fry circuitry. It's
The sonic screwdriver is a fascinating tool, and I'm not gonna lie, when I was really into Doctor Who, my god, dude, the sonic screwdriver is like Deus Ex Machina in pen form. You could just put it in your pocket, dude. It can do so much. Essentially, if anything is mechanical or electronic, this thing can mess with it. Whether it takes it over completely, disables it, short circuits it, turns it off, turns it on. Basically, if it's made of metal or has any kind of electronics in it, it's susceptible to the sonic screwdriver, which is crazy and yet makes you want one so bad, doesn't it?
sort of a Swiss Army plot device that can hack its way through most problems. The perfect pacifist tool for resolving conflict.
Its only weakness is that it doesn't do wood or turkey, though considering it can destroy machines, disrupt molecules, and even erase memories, I'll take it.
The Doctor doesn't often carry weapons.
You know, what is it with characters from the 1960s being weak to wood, right? Alan Scott's Green Lantern, Magneto, the Doctor's sonic screwdriver. Like, these three super powerful characters, apparently their weakness is all just a wooden stake.
There's an invisibility watch, a time travel ring, psychic paper that tricks basically everyone, and perception filters
time travel ring. He's got Zamasu's ring now too?
Prevents others from noticing certain things, even people.
But the Doc does reluctantly have a few weapons stored away, like the dematerialization gun.
It might look slapped together with Hobby Lobby pipes, but the DMAT can literally erase you from time, as in, it causes you to have never existed in the first place.
But if you never existed, then the gun would have never needed to fire, which means you weren't wiped from existence.
I see where you're going, robot, but we just explained that Time Lords are immune to things like paradoxes and temporal shifts, and things that should affect timelines regularly do not affect Time Lords in the same way. So maybe because it's a Time Lord doing it using Time Lord technology, that loop, that logic loop that you're talking about getting stuck in, doesn't exist.
Which means the gun would need to fire, which means...
Did you say something? That's not the only time erasing tool in the Doctor's box. But we gotta talk about, you know, the box!
The box!
Shabby blue police box on the outside. Incredible time machine that's bigger on the inside. This is the TARDIS.
The time and relative dimension in space is a sentient ship that travels space and time with ease. It's strong enough to tow planets, powerful enough to stop antimatter from destroying the universe, and tough enough to tank lightning from Zeus. Yes, the god Zeus. It can even adjust its interior to an infinite degree, both in terms of space and time.
So,
one of the coolest things about Doctor Who and the TARDIS specifically is not only is it like a living building construct vehicle, it's really hard to kind of just pin down as one thing, but yeah, the way it can shift all of its internals. Not only is it bigger on the inside than the outside, and we're talking by like magnitudes, we're talking like there is seemingly infinite space inside of a TARDIS. We're talking, there's libraries, pools, huge like amphitheaters. There's all kinds of stuff in the TARDIS, but it all shifts, and it can shift and move and use that itself as like a security system, you know, constantly shifting the walkways and the interiors of the TARDIS to disorient people. And the other thing I really like about the TARDIS is every Doctor gets their own version of the TARDIS. Every time a Doctor regenerates and get a new physical appearance, the inside of his TARDIS changes as well to kind of like match his personality. So it gives every Doctor their own personality, their own flavor, their own style, and I really like that. I really like that.
So, if the TARDIS doesn't like you, you might get lost inside it forever. Don't piss off the TARDIS.
Or any of the Doctor's enemies. Some of the universe's deadliest monsters. Cybermen, Zygons, Weeping Angels.
And the Slitheen, the big chunky aliens that took over 10 Downing Street. And couldn't stop farting.
Even when the Doctor prefers not to resort to fisticuffs, he's tough enough to survive bolts of lightning that vaporize an ordinary human. He's even dodged half a dozen disintegration rays, while also improvising several thousand calculations in a matter of nanoseconds.
Yeah, the Doctor's super smart. So smart, his brain once powered a 1,000-year-old supercomputer.
The Doctor's outwitted cosmic entities like the Great Intelligence, the Time Lord Nemesis, the Master, and apparently the original Satan, who isn't even the most frightening alien in the multiverse, because that would be the Daleks.
Alright, bear with me here. They may look like trash cans with plungers, but they can exterminate anything that gets in their way, even all of space and time, like when they battled the Time Lords to extinction in the last Great Time War.
A war that showed a darker side to the Doctor. Thrust into a conflict that put all of reality at risk, the Doctor became a warrior, a soldier, a killer.
A side of him that had always been there, hiding just under that cheeky grin.
Finally, in a single moment, the Doctor pressed a big red button to end the war, and all of Gallifrey, once and for all.
As much as he didn't like the Time Lords, the Doctor cares for life above all things, so genociding his own people was the worst thing that could possibly happen.
As the last of the Time Lords, the Doctor proved to be the most dangerous person in the universe. Isolation threatened to turn him into the very type of Time Lord he despised, a master who controls the laws of time, the Time Lord victorious.
And God help your immortal soul if you piss him off. If he's desperate or if you threaten his friends, you won't be prepared for how far he'll go. Like trapping you in every mirror in existence, imprisoning you in the event horizon of a collapsing galaxy, or suspending you in time to be used as a scarecrow.
Fortunately,
Flash did something like that before. Flash took all the speed from the character Inertia and essentially made him a living statue. Put him in the Flash Museum to stare at the statue of the person he killed for all eternity as a living, conscious statue. Like, that's hardcore. And the Doctor did that to somebody. While I'm thinking about it, one other thing that I really think is really cool about the regeneration, just a little mind thing here is, imagine being able to change your body. Not just change your physical appearance, but when you change your body, other things about you change too. Your likes, your dislikes, your tastes in things. Tastes in food change, tastes in music change. All these things that are attached to physiology change about you. So you might have something that's your favorite meal in the world, but then you go through a regeneration and then you eat that same meal again and you're just like, ugh, I don't like this. I don't like the way it tastes. Like, just imagine having to relearn everything about your own body because it's now a different body. That always just kind of blew my mind. I know, completely separate, tangential topic that really has nothing to do with the fight, but I just kind of thought about it.
Gallifrey wasn't destroyed. It turns out the Doctor, all of the Doctors, saved the Time Lords, but just forgot about it until time could catch up to them. It's complicated.
Still, even their biggest L turned out to be a dub in disguise. That's how you know you're fantastic.
But a Doctor's job is never finished. Without witness, without reward, you'll never know when they'll show up to save the day. But if you happen to be up against the Doctor, there's really only one thing you can do. run.
Alright guys, that was the breakdown for the Doctor from Doctor Who. We've heard the breakdown for Rick Sanchez. We've heard the breakdown for the Doctor. I'm going to go ahead and give my prediction on this. And as much as I love Rick Sanchez, as you can see right here, I am a fan. As much as I love Rick Sanchez and understand the things that he is capable of, like I said at the beginning of the video, there is only one of these two characters who is actually terrifying, and that is the Doctor. The Doctor has wiped out entire civilizations, entire species, entire races. This guy has a higher body count than probably Rick could ever hope to achieve. I mean, we're talking wiping entire civilizations out of timelines. His own, the Daleks. Like, this guy is wild. The things that he has done is just, I don't know, man. Like, the Doctor has been put in scenarios that seem like they are absolutely impossible to escape from, impossible to beat. We're talking that the odds, there was a season finale that had essentially every single enemy of the Doctor in the show up to that point banded together to try and stop him, and they still all got wiped out. All of them. They all lost to the Doctor. Like, he's written in such a way that he is, in my opinion, the single most capable and dangerous fictional character to have ever been written. Like, if you told me that Dr. Manhattan got into a fight with Doctor Who and Doctor Who won, I would believe you. I would 100% believe you. I'd be like, yep, I'm sure there's a way that he found a way to go back in time and prevent Dr. Manhattan from ever getting his powers, kept him from stepping into the chamber or whatever it was, or deleted him as an embryo in his mother's womb or something like that, or decided to wipe out his entire family tree before he ever existed. That's the kind of stuff that makes him just the most terrifying person in, like, all of fiction, at least to me. So that's my guess for the battle. I'm going with Doctor Who. Let's see how this plays out.
Oh, jeez, Rick. It was my fault.
Shut the fuck up, Morty! I knew Time Lords were suicidal morons, but I didn't know they never invented rearview mirrors!
Are you sick? You're the one who hit me.
It's a little animated Doctor.
Son of a bitch, he's ignoring me?
Of course, they went with the Tennant version, right? I'm pretty sure David Tennant is the hands-down most popular version of the character. With a harpoon!
Holy, it was ship! Keep Morty safe.
What are you... Uh-oh!
No! Oh, what did they do to you? Right, fine. Queensbury rules? A bit of Venusian karate?
Keep quipping, asshole. Maybe you'll find a good joke on the ground next to your teeth.
Couple little good Easter eggs in the background with those arcade cabinets.
On guard!
Oh, here's a perfect example why. Two guys get into a fight. One of them pulls out a sword. The other one of them pulls out a spoon. A spoon. The Doctor's so confident in his abilities that he decides to counter a full-size sword with a spoon. This is why I'm terrified of the man. This is why I'm terrified of this guy.
Oh, this place looks fun. Do they have a little shop? I like little shops. Well, blink as much as you can. They're scared of rapid movement.
Motherfucker.
Blink as much as you can. They're scared of rapid movement. Wow. Wow. That was a dick move, my guy.
My balls, sucker!
Oh, you brilliant old girl. Switching rooms around. Fantastic.
I don't know who's doing the voice for Doctor Who, but he's doing a pretty good job at kind of like emulating Tennant. It's not perfect, but it's really good.
It's fun to be the class clown till you get shot. Now hurry up, I got a grandson waiting on me. He won't die an idiot like you.
I know your type. The nihilist know-it-all. But through all this wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey rubbish, there's one thing you never quite understood. I'm the Doctor, and I don't want to go.
Oh, they dropped the "I don't want to go" line. Oof.
Quite an impressive craft, Morty. You built it yourself?
I guess so.
Then you've got a bright future ahead. Don't be a cynic.
Morty, if you forget me, I'll haunt your ass.
Who the fuck are you?
KO! Live by the portal, die by the portal.
Funny thing is,
Let's break this.
That was actually a very Doctor Who way to defeat your enemy, right? Because he has this thing where he can straight up defeat his opponents, right? Like he could defeat them, but what he likes to do a lot of the times I've noticed is have the enemies set up so that they defeat themselves in a way, you know, that they're their own downfall. And that's what he did to Rick here. He used the portal that Rick put on his back to essentially take him out. And it was Rick who pulled the trigger on the weapon that killed himself, essentially, right? He shot at the Doctor. The Doctor was able to turn that around so that Rick essentially shot himself. Very Doctor way to win the fight. Like that's something that would have happened like in the show. So very, very well done on the part of the Death Battle writers for that, how that ended that way.
Down. First off, Rick and the Doctor could both dodge lasers, making them pretty even, so neither could reliably win a quick draw.
Also, neither have shown any consistent signs of strength all that different from an above-average human.
Yeah, both of them are essentially just regular humans when they're just, you know, baseline.
The Doctor could get a superhuman strength boost during regeneration, but that is fairly incidental. So as far as physical ability is concerned, neither had a significant edge.
But when it comes to weapons, Rick had way more deadly killing machines, a lot of which could wipe out whole planets,
Okay, that's exactly what I was saying. Rick's got way more gear.
galaxies, and more. If he could get the jump on the Doctor, he'd have a good chance of winning.
Of course, there's similar speeds meant he probably wasn't getting that opportunity. There's no denying his firepower was superior overall, but that still had to contend with the Doctor's technology.
And on the point of superior firepower, when has the Doctor ever not been at a disadvantage against firepower? He is always outnumbered and outgunned. Always. There's almost never a scenario where it's just like a 1v1 thing unless he's going up against like the Master. That's run of the mill for the Doctor. Fighting someone that has more numbers and bigger, better weapons. He does that every day.
Yeah, despite all of Rick's crazy inventions, most of which could kill a normal person instantly, the Doctor matched or countered pretty much all of it.
Being a Time Lord meant he could resist any time-warping trickery Rick threw at him, and the sonic screwdriver could hack and even destroy nearly everything Rick had. The Sonic has even disabled teleportation and time travel technology before, making it more than capable of hijacking Rick's portal gun, which has been hacked in the past.
With that gun, Rick was kind of a sitting duck.
Operation Phoenix makes killing Rick permanently almost impossible, but the Doctor's reality-altering tech like the DMAT meant there would be no Rick left to upload to a new body at all, effectively ending the fight in a single shot. And that was hardly the only reality-warping superweapon the Doctor had access to. The Doctor's technology presented a clear advantage.
Now let's talk ships. This one's pretty clear-cut. The space...
Yeah, technology, even though the Doctor has fewer pieces of technology, they're far more advanced. As simple as that. The sonic screwdriver itself, this thing alone basically takes out 99% of what Rick can throw at him, is the sonic screwdriver. This is the sonic screwdriver I got. This is the universal remote version of the sonic screwdriver, and I absolutely loved this thing when it worked. It no longer works, but when it worked, I absolutely loved it, and I loved trolling people with it and messing with their TVs. Great time.
This cruiser was a deadly machine that towed a solar system, but the TARDIS single-handedly held off a universe-destroying event. That's an edge for the Doctor.
But perhaps most important of all was their experience and intelligence.
Rick mastered space and time to the point of becoming a veritable god. But you can say the same for the Doctor, who is way older. It's kind of like the Doctor has been Rickin' for many times longer than Rick himself.
And when push comes to shove, the Doctor is just as experienced of a warrior as Rick ever was, if not more so.
11 spent 900 years battling Daleks, Cybermen, Sontarans, and more on Trenzalore and came out on top.
And don't forget how quickly the Doctor can formulate, calculate, and initiate plans. Like when he dodged half a dozen rays and improvised thousands of calculations in his head to siphon the ray's energy into a teleporter, all in a matter of nanoseconds.
Rick usually relies on being the smartest guy in the room. When he's forced to battle people at his own level, he's often outsmarted, like with the Prime Rick or, gasp, a Morty.
Rick was a formidable genius, but the Doctor's incredible technology, unmatched intelligence, and thousands of years of experience gave him the win.
Ah, geez. I bet Rick was absolutely mortified to lose.
The winner is the Doctor.
So alright guys, that was the battle. I really enjoyed it, really enjoy doing these death battles. I hope you enjoy watching them. If you do, go ahead and click that like button, and as always, consider hitting that subscribe button to help the channel out. Most importantly, however, leave a comment down below. This death battle was a commenter suggestion, so go ahead and leave your suggestions for the next one we should do down below. And remember, it doesn't always have to be a death battle, it can be for anything. As always guys, thank you so much for stopping by, thanks for watching the video, take care of yourselves, and have a great day.